Hello, this is Will from JourneyToWallStreet.blogspot.com. I'm here for the trade reviews for April 30th, 2012. So as I mentioned in my little short blog post, my P&L was definitely nothing spectacular. In fact, I didn't, even though I was gross positive, I still lost money because commissions was quite a bit. I traded 22,000 shares today, which is a lot more than I usually do. But most of that was because I was kind of I wouldn't say messing around with tape trades, but I had some pretty low risk trades that I made off the tape. So you have to be in size for those type of situations. Anyhow, let me go on to the trades. So one of the first trades I was in GNC. Fairly simple setup. Um, it was gapping lower, pulled back, and I wanted to be short on this inside bar, sort of like a pullback flag failure type of thing. As you can see, the flag did fail, but it stopped me out before that happened. Next trade was in eBay. Um, First, we have to look at the weekly. So we have an inside week the last couple of weeks, and today it kind of broke through. So my initial reaction was, okay, let me get long above since it's holding above the weekly, which happened here. And as you can see, that trade failed pretty bad. But I knew my risk was kind of wide, so I was sized appropriately. Uh, then later we had another inside bar here, and I still had a long bias on eBay just because it was close to above weekly, so I took the long trade here. But before that, I was thinking about position trades and momentum trades, and I noticed that there was somewhat of a flag support area here. So I went long a little in this area first, and then once I added upon the break of the inside bar, then I considered that a momentum trade. So I took trades on the way up, and finally I moved my stop up for the rest, and I was stopped out here. Would have been nice if I was able to maintain my position and maybe um, follow this trend line, but I did not do that. But maybe next time I wouldn't get shaken out over this type of move so quickly. But anyways, let's move on. So HOLX, Hologic Inc. I don't even know what they do, but this was when I started to really try to do some tape trades. I was first alerted to the stock around here when the 19 was buying. I was watching white prints and green prints. So the stock had the uptick rule. There's a lot of white prints and green prints, and usually that's a good indication that there's a hidden buyer and they're paying for it versus hitting the bids because this person just keeps buying everything. So they dropped momentarily and then came right back. So I got right back in, and then 32 was the level, and once it broke that level, I added, and as you can see, it failed immediately. But then I was able to get out of my ad really quick. At this point, I was averaged in about 27 cents, and it was still kind of 25 cents was holding the offer and just kept selling, kept selling. Once he lifted, I was able to get out of some at 30. I don't know how I did, but I got fill right there. And finally, 25 kept selling and kept selling and kept selling. So I said, forget it. Let me just short some more, or excuse me, let me go long some more. Because once 25 lifts, there's a chance that it can come back. So that's when I got into a max risk position. I paid 26, but as you can see, um, that quickly dropped, and I was stopped out of the rest. So, I mean, even though I lost on this trade, I thought it was kind of okay because just the fact of me being able to see that buyer and getting this move and adding above here, but reacting fast enough to get out of that ad, it's like kind of like I had a calculated idea of what I was going to do, but it just didn't work out. But in the future, as long as I can keep having a thought process like that and reacting to it as fast as I did, then I might be setting myself up for some pretty decent tape trades in the long run. Another tape trade I was in MDRX. I kind of rusted a little. I paid up here, and my stop was below this little wick there, so I was never really in any danger of being stopped out. But once it did break through kind of my entry area, I was expecting it to go up a little more, but it didn't. It came right back down after this push through the previous highs. Um, then I just said forget it. I set my stop to break even, and I was stopped out here for a break even trade. Would have been okay if it kept going, but at that point, I was really not focused too much on this stock. SUN was another trade I was in. This was again a tape trade. I was first alerted to it around this area when there was a ton of selling at 49. I missed this first push and I was just kept watching, and finally I saw this one and I shorted a little, and I think I covered around 80s here. And then when it pushed back up to the 90s, I noticed he was holding it quite a bit, so I shorted it again, and I covered in the 75s down here. And 80 started to sell quite a bit, so I did like a super quick scalp. I shorted 80s and I covered like 75s, and I couldn't get filled on all of it, and I was stopped out here very tight. Then 90 started selling again, so I was thinking about getting short 90s, but I was on my way to work, and I almost pulled over to try to get some, but I did not do so. Good thing I didn't, because it shot back up, right? Then once I was at work, 49 showed up again and started selling quite a bit, so I decided to give it another shot, and I sold 49s, but as you can see, I was stopped out here. After that, I noticed that 95 kept buying and kept buying, so I decided to kind of flip my position and went long with a stop below these wicks, and as you can see, I got stopped out right here. But what kills me is look at this move afterwards. I mean, I was in 95 with some pretty decent size because of that buyer. So if I still had any more shares left to catch this type of move with the size I was in, oh man, that would have been one pretty great trade. But I don't know, I really felt like I kind of overtraded this stock. I did most of my volume on here, like half of my volume was on this stock. But I mean, the seller was very clear here, seller was very clear here, very clear here, and very clear right here. So I felt like I was able to get in with good size and have a decent amount of risk. So although it didn't work out the way I thought it would, I still liked this trade. I was okay with the results. And if something like this happens again, I'm for sure going to trade it somewhat the same. I was able to get aggressive when I knew that there was a seller, and I made the trade as I was supposed to. But we'll just learn from this and try to really study how to trade from the tape a bit better. And I do have some plans going forward to help me with this, and I'll share that in a little bit. Still have a couple more trades to get to. Amazon. So Amazon's super strong. A two-day type of trade. And I first was interested here. I was thinking I might be able to short this inside bar on a pullback, because I don't know, I just thought it could have been a decent fade, but the trade never happened, and good thing it didn't, because it shot up like crazy. So at this point, I kind of stopped watching Amazon until I saw it was starting to trend down lower. So this would be a pretty decent pullback play on its own, but I've been trying to avoid taking C trades, and if I were to just trade this pullback on its own, that would be a C trade. I mean, it's in this 2-day high sort of deal, and I don't know, just on its own would kind of be bad. But what I did notice is that there was this inside bar right here at the apex of where the pullback entry would be. So now, instead of having a C trade, I have a B trade. So with a B trade, I'm okay with risking about 60 cents on this trade. For a C trade, that's too much. C trade, I should only be risking 25 if I even want to take it. So, as you can see, it worked out initially, and then sort of hit a wall and came right back. I got flat once this downtrend was broken. I mean, uptrend was broken. So I got flat around 232. Right. I'm sorry. Right about there somewhere. Let me get rid of this. Right about here somewhere. So while it didn't have the follow through I was hoping it would, I kind of like the fact that I would have only taken this trade if it was a B trade or higher to justify the $60 risk. And this was one of the last trades I made, so I already gave back a ton of my profits in the morning. So it felt really good that I had a level head, and I consciously decided to take this trade only if it met certain criterias, instead of kind of just trading it to revenge trade or whatever. So I was very happy about that. Not so much about how far it went, but that's okay. Finally, another trade I was pretty happy about was in Western Digital. So this kind of goes with my post from last week about position trades versus momentum trade. So initially, what I saw was this kind of a, sorry, I was in the 5-minute, was kind of a bull flag type of deal, and I wanted to get in as a position trade because I liked it above 75. So I did that. I got long. I think it was right here around mid 80s. And finally, as it was approaching this flag, I was looking at the 13-minute inside bar, and I saw that there was a chance for a break above it, and I consciously treated those lots as momentum lots. So as it broke through, I was kind of selling on the way up here. So by the time it reached, I think around 11 or 10 cents, I was right out of my momentum trades, and I just broke even on the rest. Just, I don't know why this arrow's here. And once after that trade was over, I just decided to set my stop to break even for the rest of my shares, and I got stopped out on this wick right here. So it was a kind of good thing that I was able to apply my my lessons and thoughts over the weekend immediately on this trade. As you can see, this happened pretty much right off the open, and it was good that I'm actually trying to put into practice the things I'm trying to learn. And that's really it for my day trades. But while we're here in WFC, I'll just go over my my swing trade real quick. So what I kind of liked about WDC is, if you take away, if you take away the, give me 1 second. If you take away the after hours, you can kind of see that 38.75 was somewhat of a level. Can't really tell by that chart, but here, maybe if I go to the 5 minute. Well, 5 minutes you can see it clearly that it was a level. You see how many times it bounced off of that? And if you look here, the previous day, kind of bounced off of here, did another bounce, and couldn't bounce this time, and it tanked through. So to me, this is telling me that this might be a level. So I went long about 38.80s, and give that a shot. Plus, it's inside day, so I have a clear stop right here. So who knows? We'll see. I mean, there's a big gap to fill, so might be a decent long. I don't know, but risking about 50 cents for potential 2 point move at some point, 4 to 1. Might be decent. We'll see. Another trade, another swing trade I was in is Microsoft. I kind of like that it's holding above its after earnings pivot low around this area. So who knows? You might be able to retest the high of the day if it could break free of this little descending triangle. And you see here's a nice inside day right there. So maybe a break above it would be a way to get into tier 2. But we'll see. I kind of like this trade. I don't really expect it to go anytime soon, but I'm willing to let it kind of develop. So that's it for all my trades, and let me go over what's happening tomorrow. So there's still earnings season. EMR is something I want to look into. BIB as earnings. TRW might be interesting since AutoZone and O'Reilly reported. So might follow the same path. We'll see. ADP is reporting in the morning. FIRE reported this afternoon. It gapped up higher, so should be interesting. Maybe 54 might be in play. Barnes and Nobles had news today, but couldn't hold its high, so might be a pretty good trade for tomorrow. Maybe these can be some levels, 22 and 2050. I mean, Shutterfly, another stock, had earnings today. Could be a nice trade, but historically I've been trading Shutterfly pretty badly, so we'll see. But that's it for today, and thank you for watching. I see you guys tomorrow.